Welcome back to Adventure in Pete's. Glad to see you here. So today we're doing the full ignition tune-up on this old OMC Cobra engine. So we're going to do cap, rotor, points, and condenser on this. So we're going to do it all at the same time because we're starting to get a hot coil and it's starting to get a mid-range misfire. So we're going to get that taken care of because it's been a few years since it's been done. So all there is to it. So stick around. So up here, we're going to start with the cap. We're going to pull this coil wire off and get that out of the way. So we don't need that for now. And Phillips head there, we're going to get this cap up and we're going to move it off to the side just so it's out of the way in doing this process, and we'll come back to it. I don't like to just pull all the plug wires off and just hope I put it back in order. So to save time, that is how I do it. So we're going to start with that. Zip tie holds it out of the way so you can see in there. You can see there's a little bit of corrosion, a little bit of burning on there. This is nothing too bad, but down here you can see the distributor, nice and easy to get to. The rotor's right here, and this just simply pulls right up off the top. It's keyed in there, so it goes in one way. I don't have to worry about that in particular, but there it is. So now you have the condenser and then the points. So we're going to replace both of those at the same time because that is how you do it, and they are just held in by some Phillips head screws. Phillips head screw right there, that takes the condenser out, that unplugs right there, and then points has a Phillips head screw there, and we'll take that out and pull it all out together. 1/4-inch wrench goes down here and takes the nut loose. That holds the coil or the condenser to the points. That wire is going to come off right there just like that. That's going to get the condenser free, and we get that screw right there, and then the condenser will come out. And then we'll pull this wire up and out of the way because that goes back to the coil, and that gives us free access to the points right there. The point spring right here, you can actually just pick up and move it off the bolt because it's got a notch on there, so you don't have to hold it there the whole time. So that allows it to be free. You don't have to take that bolt all the way off, and flat head right there, we'll get that out. You can see it's right there, that screw's loose. We're going to take it out. Try to do it all at once without dropping the screw and the tiny stuff. You can see that is slotted down there, so if you make a notch or a mark down there, that'll help at least get you started, because eventually we will have to reset the timing or re-verify it in the end. But you can see there is some darker outlines to it, so that should be pretty close anyways. The camera may not be able to focus and see it, but you can see there is some notch there. It's got some high spots to it. So the other side doesn't look too bad, but it's not perfectly clean. So sometimes the old-fashioned way was take some sandpaper to it and clean it up, and it'd probably run better for a little while, but these are cheap, so we're just going to replace it. New condenser's in, same place it was, and this we're just going to have off to the side until we put the points in. With the points, you either have one spring that's attached to this all together, or you'll have your grounding that's riveted on there, and that has to be attached. That'll fold over with that, and that'll go on there as your spring. So either you'll have a one-piece or a two-piece style spring. But you always want to make sure you don't forget the actual spring side of it, because this is not going to actually hold up under high RPMs. Down there with that, I make sure that U-plate that goes to the ground of the coil captures that spring and tensioner right there, and that gets put in there and tightened in. This spring right there, that slot you can see right there, that I'm going to put in just loosely because we'll have to turn this engine over to make sure this is at the tip of the points to be able to set our actual points timing. So right now I'm just going to put it in there and just leave it loose until I get the engine turned over where it needs to be. You can see it's nice and loose down there. Better view. So we'll roll this engine over till that pointy thing that's riding on the distributor flats gets on one of the high points. Once we set to the high points, we'll set the feeler gauge for the points gap for the ignition. You can see it just barely moving. We're going to find the high point right there. Once we get the high point, we can get the feeler gauge out. See right there, the high point. Get the feeler gauge out and start setting the gaps. So the OMC engine 5.8 requires an 18 thousandths feeler gauge, so that's what we need. And it's going to go right here between the stop and the arm itself. So we need to set that gap to be where it just goes in there with a little resistance. Not too loose, not too tight. Too tight as in you have to push the arm out to get it to fit. And it takes some adjustment, takes some time to do it. And once you find that gap, you'll put tension on that, check it, put a little more tension, check it, and just keep going back and forth and checking it until you get it done. If you want a trick to the trade, this little triangle slot they got right there has a little notch that you can see on the end of the points. That you can actually put your screwdriver in there with that slot like that, and actually turn the screwdriver just a hair to actually adjust your points to fine tune and dial it in once you got some good pressure on that screw. If you're wanting to test and verify your results, I got a 19 and an 18 pulled out. 19, you sit there and put on there without pressure and rock it back and forth. If it doesn't go, it's too tight for 19, but we're going to flip it over to the 18 and rock it back and forth, and it pops right through. So that tells me that we are right on the money. It has just light resistance, so that is exactly where we need to be for points gap, and that's great. New rotor is keyed, so we just got to match it up with the distributor right there, put it on there, and press it on. Marine distributor caps will usually have a seal on them to prevent EMPs and because just keep moisture out. So we'll install the seal. This one on here that came off didn't even have a seal, so that means somebody had been in there before, because this boat is somewhat new to me, so obviously it was not taken care of properly. So we want to make sure it has that seal on there to make sure no spark gets out and it causes fires, because that's why it is EMP proof, to make sure there is no electronic signal to cause a spark and set the boat on fire. With the seal on it, we're going to put this back into place right inside just like that. So we're going to put it back in the same exact spot that the old one was, and we'll put the same wires in, move spot place to place. As a note, one of the mounting brackets has a tang and a notch in the distributor cap itself, so to make sure you put it back in the same position, you want to make sure you put that notch with the tang that sticks up on the distributor. Now with the distributor secured in there, I'm just going to take one wire at a time, same spot, like using this screw as a starting point, and go with this one, put it there, next one, just keep working my way all the way around the circle, and that way it gets done evenly and in the same spot, and we don't have to worry about being out of order and causing more headaches from there. Last one to go on is the coil. So once that gets taken care of, the next thing we need to do is, you'll start up in a run, but you want to verify timing, because this engine's set for 10 degrees. So you want to make sure, since you did the points, it's probably going to be on the money, but you always want to just double check and verify it to make sure it's going to start and run really well and smooth as part of the ignition setup. So once that's done, you are all good to go. So we're put down a number 1 wire for the board. Coming down here, we're at 0. Yeah. Hard to see, but we are right there on the money where it needs to be. So that's how you set timing. So as you can see, that's all it takes for setting the points up on one of these older boats. So simple and easy to do. It just takes a little bit of time and effort, but it's easy, it's cheap, and it works. So hopefully you can like the video, comment, tell us what you think, tell us what you want to hear about, and subscribe. We got a lot of great content coming out, a lot of great content on the channel, so be sure to check it out. And remember to have a great adventure.